Thoughts and views of this podcast and the sole views of the curators of this podcast is not the views of the United States Postal Service.
How does he do it?
Lighten it up a little bit, wipe the sweat off our foreheads. We want to talk about the NBA playoffs. You know how it goes. You know what I mean? So, being that we're in Philadelphia, yeah, whatever. And I'm from Jersey. You know what I mean? Right now, currently, the Philadelphia 76ers are going toe-to-toe with my Brooklyn Nets, and it didn't go too well the first game. Fellas, would you like to elaborate? Would y'all like to elaborate, fellas?
I was a blowout. Like I said, I see that your man, Mikal Bridges, had 30 points, and y'all still lost by 20. So, I mean, it's going to take a little more of that. Got to do better than that.
And we got to let the audience know that Rick and Black have an ongoing bet right now.
Oh, yeah. What is it? What's the bet, sir? What is the...
Well, the bet in its uniqueness is that I believe that Mikal Bridges will have average 35 points for this series, regardless if we win or lose. And if he does not, the next time me and Black play one-on-one, we play one-on-one a lot, I would spot him 5 points and we go to 11.
He's not winning that game.
No.
But I'm naturally, wholeheartedly a Spurs fan. But that's not what we're talking about right now. The Sixers are doing actually well. Yesterday, what did Embiid have? 26?
Yeah, 26. I think, yeah,
26 points. James Harden had 23. Maxey had 13. Tobias had 21.
Wow.
I was surprised that Tobias was putting in work. I was very surprised.
Now, if you look at that game, basically, the Nets came out and they double-teamed Joel Embiid from the gate throughout the whole game, basically. And they just made the rest of the team beat them. So...
I respect that. Because I literally said that before the series started. I said if I was Coach Jacques Vaughn, who I think is doing a great job, actually, you know what I mean? That would be my take on it. Like, you got to double this dude because no one really can deal with him one-on-one. He's too big. He's got so many moves. He's very polished.
But the Sixers came in as the leader in the NBA in three-point percentage. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
So that worked well to their advantage, you know, double-team Embiid in the paint. He kick it out to the open man. They knock down the shots. Now the key is to see if the role players can play away and play consistently. And
we know Tobias Harris can't. So.
Oh my God, he sucks.
Please, why you say it, bro? No, man, God, please.
Hope y'all enjoyed that 20-point spurt by him. You ain't gonna see that the rest of the series.
I'm gonna tell you what I think the biggest difference in the game was. My man James Harden had 13 assists
and 7 3-pointers too. Like that.
Yeah, to me that's the X factor. Like, if he goes off like he's supposed to, yeah, we're probably finished.
Where Brooklyn at?
But
Get home.
What people don't understand is that Mikal Bridges emerging, and the way he's emerging now on this team, is making it really attractive for an actual MVP caliber player to want to come play with the Brooklyn Nets.
We'll see about that. We'll see. We'll see if you guys can draw somebody in there.
Sixers and 4.
Four.
We're not gonna get swept.
Gentleman sweep, huh? You want the gentleman sweep?
Let me ask you guys this: there are a couple of teams at the top of the Western Conference that normally aren't there. Do you think that it matters that they're at the top, or does experience really still win out in the end?
Well, no. Look at the game last night. That De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk went off last night. They had, I think, De'Aaron Fox had 38, and Monk had almost like 30 up the bench.
32.
32. He was cooking. Like, he was cooking. He was taking stuff in, Clay, left hand, right hand, which way. He was getting the lane at ease. They had Gary Payton basically face guarding him to the point where it's like, we can't do nothing with him.
What did they win by?
They won by 3. They won, I think it was 126 to 123.
All that, and they only won by 3. I'm confident that
Golden State
State will beat that series.
Okay.
If you look at it, like, when they kicked it out to Andrew Wiggins for the game winner, he was wide open and he missed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, yeah, they snuck away with that one. But in the end, the Warriors going to take that. The experience is going to be way too much. Like, they've been there, done that. The Kings, this is their first time in 16 years.
Yeah.
But at some point, I think, because the Warriors used to be the Kings at one point, where there was like, they don't have the experience, they're just young. At some point, you got to cross that bridge. Yeah, I think what makes those teams go from where the Kings are right now to being those elite teams is keeping everybody in place where they are. Like, I think Mike Brown is pretty much the runaway winner of this Coach of the Year because no one saw them being this good of a team. If they keep him there, Sacramento organization, you keep him there and keep all the players that are instrumental in what's going on, you guys can actually turn this around like the Warriors turned their franchise around. I mean, Adam Silver said this a couple years ago, the commissioner of the NBA. He was like, personally, he's tired of the same old teams being in the finals.
No, seriously.
You know what I mean? He's like, we need some diversity in the NBA. So it's good to see some of these teams that we don't normally see be good, actually be good, because that's good for the NBA. So hopefully some of these teams can keep going in the right direction and it's not be like a one-year fluke or something.
Well, I think the difference between Golden State when they first started their run, when they came out as a young team with no experience, they were still way better than the Kings defensively. Like the Kings right now they're like mellow, no D.
Yeah, they get way too many shots.
I don't see, and that's what I don't understand with this generation of players. Like, how does no one take pride in just shutting somebody down? Like, for me, shutting somebody down made me feel better than scoring on somebody. Because in basketball, everybody can score. Everybody can score. Anybody can score. Anybody, because it's such a wide floor. You can find that area where you just can't miss at, and you can get your points off. You can get there.
It's all about money, man. Everything rigged, like you said. Like,
Yeah.
And plus, they want the points.
The glory is in the points, like in the offense. Like,
That's
Yeah,
why
and that's viewership too. Viewership
why
too.
the points of the game.
But you can be both. You can be a two-way player. You can be a guy that
that's the best
scores
player.
and shuts guys down.
But my thing is though is the viewership. Like as I said, the common fan, they really want that. They want to see the person. Like we talk about it. We do talk a lot on the phone. We this is not something we do, but we were having a discussion about Isaiah Thomas in Chicago. Like, do you really want to see somebody playing hard-nosed defense, or you want somebody out there flying in the air like Mike? Basically, I just watched. Came when we watched Air. That was a great movie. But go ahead.
Well, remember, Mike also played D. Mike would guard the best player on the other team.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's not enough that I'm going to score on you all night long, get whatever I want. I'm going to take your best player on, and I'm going to shut him down and make him understand, yeah, you all right, but you ain't this.
Right.
So I'm going to guard you and show you ain't me. Because you see me over here getting 30, and now I done held you to 12.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of these guys don't take pride in just shutting people down. Like, coach, who their best player? All right, I'm guarding him tonight. I don't care if I'm a 3 and he's a 1. I'm guarding him tonight. If he's a guy that's averaging a quarter of their points, I'm on him all effing game.
and in my opinion, that's why Embiid is better than Jokic when you talk about MVP race, because he plays both sides of the ball. Like he's great at both sides. And head to head, Embiid is 5-2 against Jokic in their career. So,
And I feel like he finally woke up and realized, height and girth wise, I'm the biggest player in the NBA. Why am I not dominating everybody? In an era where they play small ball, and I'm 7'2", 270, 80 pounds, but he's actually quite nimble because he actually wears the same size shoe as LeBron James, who's 6'9". So he's quite nimble. You know what I mean? So he's like, why am I not averaging 30 on everybody? They can't really put somebody on me the whole game to hold me up. And he did the homework. He went and got with legends who had the test book of what post moves are, and he got with those guys and learned. And you can tell by his progression and the way he plays. Like my man Claxton made a huge leap this year, but he still got a long way to go. He need help with this boy. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm a Nets fan. I'm gonna keep it 100. Like he need help with him because not only he's only 2 inches shorter than him, but the weight is a huge difference. Yeah. And the fact that he got moves too, and he can shoot from outside, yeah, that's a lot to deal with. But I think my young boy is going to take something away from this series, and he's going to help him be a better player. You know what I mean? But it's like I'm glad Embiid kind of woke up and realized, like, yo, I'm supposed to be playing like this.
I think for him, it was a major thing to get over, like the injury thing, staying healthy and playing like a good amount of the season. I think that was his next step because over the last 2 years he's been really healthy, and that's where he's been in the MVP race, scoring champ, all that stuff. So
Back-to-back years, scoring champ too at that.
So it remains to be seen whether he stays healthy throughout the playoffs. I think that's the next step for him, and I think if he can stay healthy, they can make it to the finals.
I think that falls on Doc.
I think he's gonna be all right. I think he's gonna be healthy this year. I think he's gonna be really
Man, Doc, we don't want to talk about Doc.
I mean, you got to, because you know, in playoffs, the coaching matters the most. The rotations, how you sub guys in and out, the lineups you want to attack with in certain points of the game. Especially when you're looking at the other team, what they're doing out there, you got to find a good perspective on how I can line these guys up out there. You know, when a team plays, like when you have a team like the Sixers, when you have a lot of athletic guys, right? And my team has a bunch of athletic guys, but we don't have a lot of height. So when we got a certain squad lineup out there, like say we got Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas, you know, Finn Smith,
Spencer Dinwiddie.
You know what I mean? You might want to go with a lineup where you have like Paul Reed in there, so you let him be rest because Paul Reed runs the floor. You know what I mean? You got George Niang out there who's a big body but likes to play the wing. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, then you got PJ Tucker. You want to put a certain type of rotation out there where you can dominate on the boards, because this is probably when Claxton is sitting down. You know what I mean? You dominate on the boards, and you can still run the floor and run a fast-paced offense. But that comes to the coach understanding the matchup. And Doc Rivers, at times, I feel like he relies more on his ISO players just trying to make something happen instead of trying to coach them and put them in the better situations.
Okay. So we just watched the Lakers versus the Grizzlies. And that goes back to your question about experience versus, you know, the young kids coming up. I feel like the Lakers going to win this because, you know, LeBron is LeBron. AD is AD. And I just feel like the Grizzlies is a bit immature. I don't think they're ready. Like, I don't think they're mature yet. You know, they got a lot of great talent, but I just don't think they're there yet.
I'm going to tell you something. Like, with basketball, right? A lot of these young guys, when they make a good play, they celebrate too much.
And complain to the refs too much.
Yeah, if I'm one of these players in the NBA, I'm watching film constantly. Because when I was in college, like when I played college basketball, I watched a lot of film on whoever we had coming up. And the whole point was to learn tendencies. You know what I mean? So if I know this guy is a guy that heavily like watches, not watches film, but a guy that heavily complains to the refs, complains about this, that, and the third, or he celebrates when he makes a good play. In my head, as a point guard, I'm like, yo, we got to pick the pace up. He's going to spend about a second and a half feeling himself because he made his basket, or a second and a half because he didn't get that call. Now that opens the lane up for a quick 2 points.
AKA Spencer Dinwiddie.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So a lot of these guys are not watching film, and that's why the Grizzlies lost that game, because they're not watching film to learn the tendencies of what does Anthony Davis like his spots at? You know what I mean? What does LeBron like to go eat at? In the fourth quarter, what is LeBron's tendencies? Is he attacking the rim? Is he falling back, shooting jumpers? What is AD doing? Is AD banging bodies in the fourth quarter, or is he banging bodies in the first quarter? What's the rotation around the second and third quarter? So when they do this, I should move on this guy. Maybe we should double this person because they like to go left, 2 dribble, pull up. You know what I mean? It's stuff like that. It's like basketball is very complex if you do the homework. And a lot of these young teams, like the Grizzlies that are talented, they're not doing the homework, and that's why they keep coming up short.
That's a great point. And if you look at it, like, throughout that game, when this podcast come out, y'all see it, people who watch basketball, and y'all look back at the highlights and stuff like that, you'll see that the role players for the Lakers, they stepped up big time. Hachimura, Reeves, you know, they combined for 50 plus points. So for them to do that at the Grizzlies, that just speaks to, you know, the maturity level and the leadership level of the Lakers. Like, that just says, like, yo, we've been here before, et cetera, et cetera. What you got to say, Rick?
So Black just showed us the score right now, currently as we're potting, with the Miami Heat versus the Milwaukee Bucks. And it's 68-55, right? A second ago. The Milwaukee Bucks are what? The number 1 seed?
Yeah, no one see it.
And they're losing right now. We're not watching the game because we're potting right now. But I guarantee you, and if I'm wrong or if I'm right, hit the like button on YouTube, hit the subscribe button on YouTube, and by all means, please comment what is exactly happening right now on April the 16th at 7:08 p.m. Let us know exactly what happened, because I'm guessing that Miami built a wall to stop Giannis from penetrating to the lane and making him shoot. And now those open three-pointers that they usually have for Bobby Portis, for Drew Holiday, for Chris Middleton are probably not there.
My bad. I don't think Chris Middleton is the same since his injury.
Well,
I would like to see if that's a big factor.
As of right now, Giannis halftime. Giannis has played 11 minutes. He has 3 rebounds and 6 points at halftime.
Is he in foul trouble or what's going on?
Doesn't look like he's in foul trouble.
I'm guessing they built a wall for him.
But
Yeah.
on the flip side, Jimmy Butler has 2, 4, and 24 in 20 minutes. He has 24.
24 points, guy.
So that tells me that either Chris Middleton or who's a small forward?
Or Chris Middleton or
Middleton, he has 14.
Oh, okay.
Who's the small forward on their team?
Middleton, Giannis,
And I think it's Grayson Allen. Grayson Allen's the.
So one of them is guarding Jimmy, and if it's Grayson Allen,
he's getting
he's cooking him. He's cooking him for real.
Mr. Duke, Mr. Duke Blue Devil.
Yeah, this always
Jimmy Butler's actually playing power forward.
Oh wow.
Wow, right now, wow.
They switched up the lineup.
Yeah, he's in there as a power forward.
This is always one of my favorite times of the year. It's like it gets warm, NBA playoffs, baseball, NFL draft coming up and stuff like that. Like it's always an exciting time.
Yeah, speaking of the NFL draft, Brandon, I haven't been watching too much of it. I just know about the quarterbacks that's in this draft, and I think one of the linemen from Alabama that people talk about. What is actually going on with this draft right now?
Well, they've been talking about the DN guy, Jalen Carter, the one that the situation he got up. They were saying that he might drop in the draft. And they were saying they might drop to the Eagles too. They were saying that. And they was also debating about between Bryce Young and Richardson, who's going number one for the Panthers. They was asking about that discussion and they were saying like there are a couple sleepers here and there with the between. And they were asking teams are actually trying to trade up for the third pick from Arizona. Like, what are people willing to go up for now? Like, trying to move up because certain teams want either, I think, Richardson or Young, or some people like the other kid.
Stroud.
Huh? CJ Stroud or the other kid, the white guy from Kentucky. Levis. Yeah, so that's what's going with that. And then, like, of course, it's been, like, a little bit here in alignment. They've been talking about interior alignment going on. I think it's another dude from Clemson. They were talking about he's a good threat to move up the interior line.
There's a dude from Tennessee too that everyone's talking about.
Yeah, I heard about him too.
He
nice. They were talking about that, and it's this draft class. Actually, it's not really like heavy wide receiver, like really heavy running back. Like it's really more so interior line. It's more so
trenches,
and it's quarterbacks. This draft is really that, but there always are sleepers that you don't look and see.
So. Some people probably gonna be like, "Yo, Rick Shine really has a problem with the South." I don't. I don't have a problem with the South.
What's really going on in the South?
But because I know a bunch of Alabama people who are like, "Oh, he's attacking Bryce Young because he doesn't like this is Alabama." That. No, Bryce Young is a great quarterback. I like how he moves around in the pocket and stays in the pocket even when it breaks down a little bit to make the right play. He has all the smarts up top to be a great NFL quarterback. He has the arm strength, and he has the decision-making. My only issue with Bryce Young is that you went to the #1 program in the country, and you were there for 3 years. And up until probably last month, you just started looking like you got a little bigger in terms of your body size. Because you're not that tall. You're about 5'11", 6 foot. But for your junior campaign, your sophomore campaign, you looked exactly the same physically as you did as a freshman. And that's why, me personally, if I was the Panthers, I wouldn't choose you because I'm like, you're at the #1 school in the country, so I know their weight room facility is top of the line, almost NFL-like. Why have you not gotten any bigger? And I'm worried about your health and your durability because at this level, the defensive tackles and defensive ends, edge rushers, and linebackers move like running backs.
Yeah, just fast as you.
So what is going on?
Defensive linemen run 4.4s now.
And just to bring a perspective to the people that's not probably up on who Bryce Young is, he's the quarterback at Alabama. He's in his junior year, because you have to do 3 years before you can declare for the NFL draft. He stands at about 5'10", 194 pounds. Okay?
Lighting ass, boy.
You know what I mean? He's from Philly originally, but he grew up in California. You know what I mean? So we gonna show him some love.
Oh no, he gonna be all right. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Hey yo,
Don't
hey
worry
yo.
about it. He gonna be all right.
Now he gonna be all right. He gonna be all right.
I don't know about that.
He went to modern day, you know, in San Ana, California, somewhere. 4-year starter, 13,000 yards passing, 152 touchdowns, only 21 interceptions, 70% completion rating. You know what I mean? He had like 1,000 yards plus, 26 touchdowns on the ground running the football. The kid is nice. You know what I mean? But that was at the high school level. High school and college is like, I remember Colin Cohort said this before. He said high school and college is like crossing the street. It's like crossing the street. College and NFL is like the Grand Canyon. That's why so many top level guys in college, Ryan Leaf, don't pan out in the NFL. Guys like who I absolutely loved when I was in high school. I thought Eric Crouch was the man in Nebraska.
Another bus.
He got to the NFL, wasn't the same thing. Black is a huge fan of Tim Tebow, two-time national champion.
Yes.
He was a Heisman finalist 3 years in a row. You know what I mean? Like, it just didn't work out in the NFL. It's different, especially for a quarterback. Ken Dorsey played with some of the best players we've ever seen in college football. Never really was a starter in the NFL.
Well, they look at Bryce Young talent and on par with Patrick Mahomes. He's just small.
Well, I don't know if he has the arm strength, but he has the arm talent. My question is, you're 5'10", 194. My man Patrick Mahomes is 6'2", like 210, 215. There's a big difference in that. It might not seem like a lot to some people that doesn't play sports, but the people who play football or know about football know that's a big difference.
As long as he can stay on the field, it only matters about like your heart and what you can do on the field.
Yeah, because he has the poise up top to be great. He just has to get in that weight room, Bryce. Get your weight up, baby. Come on now.
Especially if
Pump
you
it iron.
These people ain't playing with you. They love, especially the veteran players. On the defense, they love rookie quarterbacks that start. They love rookies,
Case Study recover, so you gonna say, oh, he
especially corners. That's like a solid bar for them.
Oh, he gonna bait. He gonna bait him easily. He gonna easy bait. Easy bait.
So who would y'all like to see y'all teams respectively choose?
Who is Rick Sean's team? That's what I said. Who is your team?
All right, so let's get this straight for everybody that's out there that's not up on who we are as people. We work in the Philadelphia district. So out of the 4 of us, 3 of us are born and raised in Philadelphia. So you clearly know what team they're rooting for. Clearly.
Who is next?
That ain't necessarily true.
Yeah, look, in this case it is. And I mean, granted, you got a couple, crazy Steelers fans in Philly. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. But these 3 guys right here are all true green blood Eagles fans.
Born and raised.
Yep.
Born and raised. They watched a lot of losing in the 90s.
Oh my God.
They got their hopes up in the 2000s, got crushed. You know what I mean? They went through some hard times in the 2010s, but Nick Foles came through and gave them one.
Yep.
Okay.
Now Jalen Hurts is showing them a bright future. And they're really up in an ante about that guy. And I hope he gets his money. And I hope the contract is negotiated in a way where they can keep competing.
Yeah, he deserves it.
Yeah. But me, I am from New Jersey. Some of my family is from New York. So clearly I am a Giants fan.
Lower tier people.
And
help us, God.
first of all, we're not going to do this because we know which franchise is a better franchise historically. But we have a quarterback that I'm not that thrilled about, but apparently our coach thinks he can do something because he got us to the playoffs. So we're not going to get a quarterback in this quarterback draft, sadly to say.
How many quarterbacks in the draft?
It's about like 5 that's like legit.
About 6. About 6.
About 6, yeah. We're not getting any of them. Not one.
Hard to believe.
Not one.
Are they?
So there's a lot of interior linemen. So hopefully these interior linemen can help make our quarterback that we have, who happens to come from Duke, not a football school, really, a basketball school, who had a losing record as a college player. He had a losing record as a college player, but somehow he's our guy. We picked him at number 6 overall in the draft. You can tell I'm hurt right now because I'm talking about it. But I'm about to get out my rant right quick. So
He did good last year. He did good.
yeah, he did okay.
Playoffs.
But I think that's coaching. So I think we're going to get a lineman in this draft in the first round, which we need to make sure he's protected. He lowered his fumbles this year. He lowered his interceptions. He lowered his turnovers. So if we add another lineman that can protect his ass, maybe he'll look like something. Because remember, the 2000 Ravens won with Trent Dilfer as their quarterback. I think Daniel Jones is a Trent Dilfer type guy. Just don't turn the ball over. We might be able to get this done.
Yeah,
Hard
but
to believe.
what else do you have? We know
I mean,
what that Ravens team had. You know what that Ravens team had.
Yeah, see, on defense, I think we're okay on defense. We're probably, the rest, remember, NFL draft is 7 rounds.
Your cheeks.
That first round, we're going to get a lineman.
Y'all might need to go running back because Saquon about to hold out.
Didn't they franchise him?
They franchised him.
No, he franchised him. He ain't holding out.
No, he said he's not signing that.
He said he not signed a franchise? I thought he signed it.
No, he didn't.
Wow, that is breaking news.
Saquon, listen to me.
Does he have to sign it?
No.
No, he don't got to sign it.
Saquon,
I'm saying, can they still franchise him without him signing it?
No.
Saquon, listen.
He has to agree to franchise.
So he'll become a free agent.
Saquon,
He's
listen.
going to
Look,
hold out.
He gonna hold out.
I don't even know if you listen to this podcast. You probably don't. But if somebody actually brings this up to you because they heard about us talking about you, just sign the franchise tag. There are a lot of running backs coming out of college every year. I know they're not you. I get it. You're fast as hell. You're twitchy. You can shake people. You can catch out the backfield. There's a lot of guys who might not be as explosive as you, but they get the job done. Just sign the franchise, bro, and just rock out with Coach Dable. He has a plan in place for us to be winners. We just need you on board, please.
Where did Aaron Rodgers go?
He went to the Jets.
Does he have a running back?
No.
Do they have money?
Yes.
Saquon. Jets.
Jets. I'll start with us. Where can we start, man? I sent something to you guys earlier. I said they was trying to get Buda Baker. I sent it to you earlier. I really don't. I'm trying to think what else we really need. Like I guess we can probably go with maybe another corner or maybe actually a linebacker.
Did
Or
they say somebody like Myers or something?
Myers and linebacker. Yeah, they be talking about either a linebacker. They be talking about not a linebacker. They was talking about another tackle or a running back. That's what I heard. A tackle, a running back, or like an interior D lineman.
Go Carter all day.
Yeah. What you think, Ed?
Since we got 2 picks, I would say Bijan Robinson. Yeah. And then probably with the second pick, get like probably a linebacker or a safety. But they definitely need a running back because I don't feel comfortable with Rashad Penny and Gainwell and Scott. Yeah. Like,
Didn't Gainwell do a good job for y'all last year? Like every time he got in the game, it seemed like he had like plus.
He did, but
5 plus.
That was strictly because of the mix-up.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's true because when you got Jalen Hurts doing his yards and you had Miles Sanders and the mix-up.
But why would you want to use your first round pick on a running back when you can use that on something else? Because there are a lot of great running backs, especially in this era, that come out the second or third round.
Well, we don't draft. One thing is our past history. We don't draft high running backs very high. We go maybe second round. That's the best. But other than that, we don't draft running backs that very high. We draft them second, third, fourth, on the cheap more so. Because like you said, first round running back, you got to try to pay that money, like Saquon.
I would draft him based on the caliber player he is, especially because we need running back.
Mm-hmm. What kind of running back is he?
He's a 3-down back that can block, catch, and run.
Yeah,
And he's patient too. He waits for the whole
super strong, super fast.
strong.
He got size?
Yes.
Like
Like
6'1",
the only reason I'm asking all these questions because I don't really watch college, whether it be football or basketball or whatever. I don't know who these guys are.
More importantly, he waits for the holes to open up.
Develop, yeah. He definitely.
He knows how to read the hole and he finds the gap that works for him. That's what I'll say about him. And you can't arm tackle the kid. Like he runs hard.
He's strong. Like, he's a physical dude.
So he say he's the better running back in the draft, I guess.
He is, but it's also 2 running backs. They got him, and then they got the one from Alabama who's really good too.
Yeah.
So that's if he available at 30 or close to 30, and you want to trade 30 and move up or something like that, then yeah, I'll take him and then take Carter at 10.
Well, you know what they're trying to do. They hoping that he fall in the second round. And we ain't got to pay for that. We can get him right in the second round or make it easier for us so we can work and go interior line. I'm telling you, know the Eagles, like, he fell the second round. Well, his kids are still. Like, I'm telling you, that's what Howie Rosen do. He work his magic, find a way. But And not saying we're gonna get into Terry line because like I said you figure they want to place a lane they want lane replacement.
Yeah.
Then you want another guard here and there, basically, to see what's going on.
But another option would be to take Jalen Carter and then probably trade the dirty pick for Dalvin Cook.
Yeah,
Not a bad idea.
but then my thing I was saying before they want Buda Baker too. So like I said, you were saying an article watch out for the Eagles getting Buda Baker because we want to replace C.J. Gardner-Johnson. If we get somebody like that to replace him, Giants in trouble. Giants in trouble.
What you think, Black?
I'm an Eagles fan. I bleed green all day. You know what I'm saying? I just want Carter. I believe that'll put us in a way better position than we are now. I believe that puts us kind of in the same space as last season. And we'll be able to do a lot of the same things, which I think it'd be great. And I would get excited about it. That's just me.
Okay.
All right, well, we're going to end the sports segment of the podcast and move on to the third and final segment. As I said before, we're a podcast that tries to be a little different than the other two podcasts that are in the postal podcast lane that are trash juice. Yeah, I said it. We're going to talk about a certain situation that came up that might have flew under the radar for some people. We try to look for the news that people don't necessarily hear about because we don't want to just regurgitate the same thing. But apparently, there was a young man who worked for the Air National Guard that was arrested by the FBI for leaking information about the United States government's involvement in the Ukraine-Russian war. So if you're not up on this situation currently, as you know, Russia and Ukraine are at war. Russia's trying to take over more territory of the Ukraine, only because it feels like NATO has them surrounded because a lot of the NATO allies are around near Russia. And Ukraine is not one of the NATO allies. So, and they're trying to vie for a position to be a NATO ally, but it's, they're slow walking them right now. And Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia, I think kind of fears having so much NATO involvement around his country that they might try to come down on him. So he's trying to get a little bit of that Soviet Union territory back. So United States pledged to support Ukraine a couple years ago when this first started. And it was not military support, it was financial support. We're going to send them money because we just got out of Afghanistan, which was a horrible fiasco. We left like $10 billion worth of equipment there in Afghanistan when we left, which ironically, we could have gave that equipment to them if we took the equipment, but we ended up giving them money, which kind of helped, help them in essence, but actually kind of put us in a bad situation financially with the inflation that we see now. So apparently there was a National Guardsman who was in a forum of, fellow video game players that play the game that he plays, and he leaked some information about 14 U.S. troops on the actual ground in Ukraine helping Ukrainians fight, which is not supposed to be our involvement in the war. Our involvement is supposed to be non-military financial support. So I'm going to read this article from the New York Times. It says that the federal officials are investigating leaks of classified U.S. intelligence revealing government secrets about the Ukraine war. Attorney General Merrick Garland announced that the airman's arrest in connection with the unauthorized removal and transmission of classified information. Right? They're saying that the 21-year-old National Guardsman, who they believe leaked a trove of leaked classified U.S. intelligence documents, which has impeded relations with American allies and exposes weaknesses in the Ukraine military. The guy is 21, which is like crazy. You know what I mean? I believe his name is Jack. I'm about to butcher it, but it's spelled Teixeira.
Teixeira?
Teixeira, that's right.
Yeah, Teixeira. Yeah,
Teixeira.
They believe that he was talking with his online friends about national security matters which are classified. And he actually shared documents with these people. And of course they leaked it. Because they're trying to get popping on social media.
Wow.
So someone said in the New York Times that the far right is trying to paint Jack, how you say his name again?
Teixeira.
Teixeira as a favorable light as an anti-war whistleblower. Even though he posted classified documents in a small private Discord channel, this was on the app called Discord, where people talk to each other, and never sought to publicize them in any meaningful way. Just one example, Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, Republican of Georgia, posted as a tweet using the name that Jake instead of Jack, that said, Jake Teixeira is a white male Christian anti-war person that makes him an enemy to Biden regime.
Wait.
She called him a white male Christian anti-war that makes him an enemy to the Biden regime. So they arrested this young man. He's 21 years old. They arrested him. They went to his house on Maple Street, I believe in Massachusetts, where he's from. I think it's called North Dodham, a small Massachusetts town about 35 miles south of Boston. On Thursday, they arrested this young man. So for people who are not aware of this, when you leak government information or when you tell any type of classified information that is not supposed to be released to the public, it is found as treason by the United States government. And under the law, treason, you can get either life imprisonment or you can get the death penalty. So this young man is facing some serious charges and some serious things he's going to have to deal with at 21 years old. So I want to hear y'all perspective on what he should do, what lawyer he should contact,
Bro, like
and why he thought that was a good idea to share that information.
You did it for the gram, like I don't get it. Like, man, he gonna use Jake like they wasn't gonna find out. Like,
Me, when I heard this, my first thing was, is it true? Did this actually happen? And he actually did this and they're just not, trying to say he did. But this is the U.S. Nothing is ever what it seems. So I don't know if I believe it. I don't know if I believe it.
wow.
It doesn't hit me. I don't know if I actually believe it. I believe it's more to the story that they're not saying. Like if he, like how classified is it? Like all right, so he leaked it to his online buddies. You said it was in Discord. What did he actually say in the Discord? What was the actual, language? What did he say?
I believe he gave up. I believe that. Now, once again, if I'm wrong, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button in the YouTube, and please comment the correct response to
Please
this.
comment. Don't send us what y'all think about it. Comment in the video on YouTube. Thanks.
Please. I believe he gave up the number of people that's involved on the ground, which I believe that's how we know it's 14 soldiers, among with a few other countries who had soldiers involved as well. He gave up where they were stationed at in Ukraine to assist. And I believe he gave up what their job was to be there. Okay, whether it be training or actually involvement or operating the drone, etc.
Yeah, it's nuts. You can't do that, bro. Like,
So with that information being given up, because I literally just thought about it, is you said 14.
Yes.
So is that saying that, basically that's America's troops that's in there, and would it be safe to say that NATO's there?
Yes, NATO absolutely was there.
Yeah. So all right. So that's probably part of the main reason, because it makes it look like that NATO is there to defend Ukraine.
Yeah, but we all know that we're the quarterback of the NATO.
Yeah.
So to the American public, we're not involved militarily as far as troops on the ground. Mm-hmm. So you don't want the American public finding out that we actually have people there doing stuff, because that goes against the whole, we don't have troops over there. We're just sending the money. We're showing our support on social media. We're doing our press conferences, down talking what Russia's doing to them, et cetera, et cetera.
Did the U.S. ever say that they don't have troops or they're not sending troops?
Yes. Joe Biden initially said in the beginning of this war when it started that he was not sending military aid. He was going to send just financial aid.
Y'all can't hold Joe Biden to that. You know he got dementia.
And you know what's crazy? Somehow, some way,
They gonna clean up.
my second favorite president.
Oh, okay.
And he's my second favorite president for the realest reason I can think of.
This guy.
And I'm a Democrat.
Oh God.
But Donald Trump found a way to get back in there and talk about what's going on so people can see his face. And he talked about the threat of the nuclear weapons that Russia has and how they're not scared to use them, and how when he was president, they weren't trying to use them because he knew how to negotiate and talk with these people. Now, remind you, I'm not a Trumper, by no means. He's only my second favorite president because he just doesn't lie. He just tells you what he thinks. So you rather deal with the devil that you know than the devil you don't know.
Yeah, free Kodak Black and Lil Wayne.
You know what I mean?
Sound like old down south there saying Ricky Seal like the South.
You know, well, he's from New York. He's a New Yorker. You know what I mean? But he's so arrogant that he'll just tell you what he thinks. He doesn't lie like other politicians. So that's why I like the guy, because I know how to maneuver now because I know what he's thinking. He's not hiding his thoughts like some of these other politicians. We had to play chess with him. He just tells you what the move is. He's just that arrogant. But one thing I will say is that he definitely didn't have an issue like this when he was running in office. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because he knew how to negotiate with some of these people that we are, you know, at odds with. We're not necessarily friends, but we're associates, and we kind of keep a level-headed medium. Joe Biden is not that good at keeping a level-headed medium with these people, and that's why we have this war we have right now. I don't think this would have happened if, you know, I mean, Orange Man was in there.
Well, that's because I believe the quote-unquote Orange Man, believe it or not,
President Cheeto.
knows how to talk.
Yeah.
And
Give it a go.
he knows how to talk to people. He knows how to, you know, negotiate and say, all right, this is what I want. This is what you want. Let's come to a happy medium. Let's meet in the middle. I don't think Joe Biden has that swag. You know,
Absolutely not.
You would think he would have some of it, or some of Obama would have rubbed off on him.
Why would he?
I'm just saying, you would think.
Obama's young enough to be his son. Why would his swag rub
What I'm
off
saying
on him?
is, he was in a room when Obama was doing the same thing.
This is the same guy in the 70s they called us super predators. Talking about black people.
I'm just saying, like, if you at that position to become president, you should have enough, you know, swag to be able to talk to people and negotiate. If you don't know how to negotiate, why are you here?
I think it was a favor. I honestly think that was a favor, like where they said, "Well, we'll take care of you, Joe. Like you took care of Obama. You was vice president. You know, we're gonna take care of you later on down the line. Basically, we're gonna push you through."
Well, this guy leaking information right now is just pure confirmation of how our country is on the downside. Because if you haven't heard, Japan, Saudi Arabia, a few other countries are moving away from the dollar as their main form of currency.
Yes.
They're actually trying to link up with South Africa and other countries to create another type of currency that they can link their economy together with. And the main reason they're moving away from the dollar, if you don't know this, is because, you know, back in 1971, Richard Nixon, you know, the guy that got kicked out of office because he was doing some grimy stuff, took the dollar away from the gold standard, meaning that the dollar was not backed by gold bars anymore. Which pretty much means how currency works for people that don't understand currency. Your currency is supposed to be backed up by natural resources that come from the planet Earth, like oil, gold, silver, things that the Earth gives you that you can put, you know, you can actually put some worth on these dollars to say that they're worth this much.
So what is it backed by?
Our money currently is backed by nothing.
Nothing. Wow.
We just print it, and because it says $1 on it, or $10 on it, or $50 on it, that's what it's worth.
Wow.
And the sad thing about it is a lot of these other countries, their money is actually backed by actual resources that they have. So now that we've printed so much excess money because of COVID, because, you know, Donald Trump gave everybody $2,000 per person that had a job, gave you $2,000 per kid that you had. There's an excess amount of money in circulation that we don't have the natural resources to support or say that actually is valid. So it makes our money look fraud. And a lot of other nations looking at us now like, yo, I'm not about to take these counterfeit dollars and try to make moves with these joints when this country over here has actual oil, actual cobalt, actual silver, actual platinum, actual, you know what I mean? All these different minerals that they can say this what their money's backed by.
That
You
they
know?
get from Africa.
Yes, that comes from the continent that 90% of the wealth comes from.
But wasn't these other countries trying to move away from the dollar for a long time prior to, them printing more money, prior to inflation, prior to COVID?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
I mean, you have people like Muammar Gaddafi, who sadly passed away a couple years ago, who was trying to get Africa to come together and make a central African dollar, quote unquote, the same way that Europe had the euro. And the African dollar was going to be backed by actual natural resources that came from the continent, which technically would have bankrupted the rest of Europe and the Western world, because majority of the resources that the Western world gets is from Africa. So if Africa's money is dependent on the same resources that they have ownership of and control of because it's under their feet, their currency will be of higher value than the euro or the dollar. Thus, him being, assassinated, so to speak.
So, Rick, you are of Sudanese descent. Currently, it's a civil war going on right now.
Yes.
Would you like to speak on that?
This is another case of people wanting power and not being upfront about it. Once again, like I said, I'm not a Trump guy, but I do like him as a politician because at least he's honest. When he says some bullshit, it's really some bullshit. He's not trying to, trying to lie to you. You know what I mean? I respect the guy that. I respect the guy that just tells me how he feels, regardless if I like it or not. I respect the honesty. You have now, for people that are not up on this, Sudan, not South Sudan, because they're two different countries now. Regular Sudan, North Sudan is the country that I have the family affiliation with. They have two generals that are vying for power that at one point were actually allies when they ousted al-Bashir, who was the president in 2019. The general of the actual army, you have the general of the Rebel Response Force, I believe is what they were called. And it was a militia group that was empowered by the al-Bashir in 2009, I want to say, that helped assist in controlling, other ethnic groups that were trying to overthrow the government in certain provinces. And in 2013, they really got to prominence when they were fighting the whole Sudanese civil war, which was how we have South Sudan. Where the South was rebelling against the North. And the agreement was that the general of the rebel support group was supposed to have his army of 100,000 soldiers be incremented into the actual government's military. As how first world countries, we have an air force, we have a Marines, we have an army. So let's say the Sudanese government was the army. This rebel response force was supposed to be like the Marines for them. Now the general of the actual army is slow walking this guy, telling him, we're going to get this deal done. We're going to get it done, blah, blah, blah. But it's not getting done. And now he's getting, a little antsy, like, hey, what's going on? That we helped you get rid of the previous president we had that wasn't no good. We deserve to be officially, stamped as a real, military group, not just a militia. Yeah. And he's not doing that. And nobody's telling the truth right now, because sadly to say, 27 civilians have been killed in Khartoum, which is the capital of Sudan, because they're claiming that the rebel response force is actually attacking the city, fighting the military. And they're also fighting about 40 miles north at the nearest airport as well. So now all flights are now canceled to Sudan because of what's going on. The general of the army, of the actual nation's army, is saying that they didn't start this fight. Yeah, the rebel response force leader saying he didn't start this fight. Somebody's lying, of course.
Sounds like Ukraine versus Russia.
Yeah, and really what this is I'm going to just call it for what it is. And this happens too much in the African countries. When you get rid of a politician, the people in the military want to take on the politician role because they want the power. When you had two generals that were instrumental in fighting the war, making sure that North Sudan, aka Sudan, is still intact when South Sudan breaks away, feel like they have some type of claim to being a leader and decision maker in that nation, right? But the problem comes is that who's going to be the top guy? Who's going to be the president? Who's going to be the vice president? Who's going to be the alpha? Who's going to be the beta? These two guys who are war tested, guys who they shed their blood for their country. They put their stripes in. They didn't go to military school and come out as an officer. They went through the ranks. They was in the trenches. Both of them. They both are alpha male personalities. One guy does not want to be the underling to the other guy. But they're both trying to tell the government and the people that they want it to be a civilian election, a civilian-led country like the West is, where we elect our officials. But they're not showing you that that's what they want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of them, like, they're trying to be dictators, and that's what the issue is. And the sad thing about it is the civilians are suffering for it. And it hurts. You know what I mean? Like, it's depressing when you see this, because it's like that country has so much beauty there that people should see, that people should go look at, because that country predates everything you know about Egypt. They got it from that country. The pyramids there are older than the pyramids in Egypt. The ancestors of the people that were here used to live in Egypt. So when you go to Sudan, you see what the ancient Egyptians were. You know what I mean? And it's sad that right now you can't even go to the country because of what's going on. Because people are just obsessed with being power hungry and being in control, when it's supposed to be about the civilians and the actual democracy that these people deserve. You got rid of the king a long time ago. So now all we have left is a democracy. We don't have a royal family anymore.
Right.
So let the people decide who the best leader is. Why are two military generals fighting for position? Because that's really what it is. It's not, oh, you're not respecting my unit and my 100,000 soldiers. It's, I want to be in charge. I feel like I'm smarter than you. I feel like I bled more. I put more on the line than you did. Why should you decide whether or not I'm legitimate or not? It's ego. That's all it is. And of course, the American, ambassador made a statement about it, but it was half-assed. I'm saying it. It was half-assed.
What do you say?
We're very aware of what's going on and our thoughts and prayers and blah, 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 blah. But I'm pretty sure they're not sending $10 billion over there like they did these other countries to try to help for aid. I'm pretty sure they're not offering refugee camp enlistment for people that are trying to get out of the way. Because like I said before, 27 civilians died in the capital already, and there hundreds have been injured. It's ridiculous.
It just seemed like other countries is content with countries in Africa like destroying each other, and then those countries come in and just like, okay, after the wars is fought, we come in and try to steal your resources.
Yeah,
While y'all fight with each other, we just take y'all resources. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah, it's pretty, it's pretty sad, man. It's depressing, man. You know what I mean? Because it's like there's so much potential that's there, and like the fact that people just want to abuse. People want to abuse their power that they have because, granted, they work hard to get to those positions. Like, nobody just walks in and becomes a general. Like, especially in these other countries overseas, you got to really pay your dues. You get the respect of your men. You get the respect of your staff. You got to really be out there. You got to really be in the trenches. So I get it. You feel like you deserve whatever you think you deserve to get. But at the end of the day, you're fighting for your country. You represent your country. You represent the people, the nation. So their main objective is making sure the people are happy. If they're not happy, you're not doing a good job.
Yeah, but you understand they want that power, but not the expense of the people you trying to help or,
Exactly.
quote unquote rule over. Like, you're killing and injuring people. Like, what, who do you think's going to, like you said, you got the respect of your men. Now, earn the respect of the people. How hard is that? You know how to earn the respect of your men. Earn the respect of the people the same way. You live there with them. You're right next to them. Talk to them. See what they desire. And go from there. It's not hard. They just want to take. Not earn. They want to take.
People with that mindset,
Yeah, they want to take. They want to fight. Like, you would think at this point in time in life, I'm pretty sure they're much older than we are. You would think they would, once again, just like Joe Biden, you would think they would be able to negotiate. You would think they would be able to have that savviness to be able to talk and have a happy medium. How do you know you could have sat down and had a good conversation? Y'all probably rule together. Y'all probably have the similar interests. But instead of y'all having this talk or this debate, you decide, all right, let's rumble. Like,
And the thing about it is, like, in that situation, if you're trying to tell the world that the people are electing their official governors and their official rulers, if you feel like you're being disrespected, talking about the general of the response force, tell the people that, yo, this is what my objective is. He's not meeting my objective. Y'all need to hold him accountable because we fought for y'all. We bled for y'all. We protected y'all. We want to be legitimized as a military force that continues to protect y'all so we can get paid like a military force gets paid. He's not doing that, so hold him accountable. Don't just go fighting and blowing buildings up in the streets, attacking the airport. That's not the move. And now you look like a dictator.
Yep.
Yeah, dictator ain't nothing without the people.
Nope.
No.
Now you lose the trust of the people.
Exactly.
The same people you quote unquote protected.
But yeah, that was that was an extra little thing we split off into right there. You know what I mean? But like I said before, on the Route Podcast, that's what we do, man. We bring it real. We bring it right to you. You know, we talking about the post office, talking about sports, talking about pop culture, wherever that may be around the world. We try to touch international issues. Like I said, I believe our next pod, we're gonna have a special guest.
Yeah.
We're gonna have an OJI trainer on the job instructor whose job is to teach people how to be a carrier.
You want to give his name or you want to let all the people?
We're going to let him introduce himself.
All right.
But he's going to be on our next pod talking about what he goes through as a OJI, trying to train new people, how he tries to tell them about the job, what the expectations are, and the whole process of the brand new person coming into the post office trying to learn how to carry this mail that we do. So I think that's going to be very informative and very entertaining for people that are not in the post office to hear that perspective from a trainer. And hopefully you guys will check back in with us on that episode to see how that goes. Once again, I'm going to let my brothers introduce themselves and tell you how they feel, and we're going to be up out of here.
All right, thanks for listening, y'all. This is Aaron, coming straight and direct from On the Route Podcast, and we see y'all next week.
This is B More. I'm just happy to be back, man. We like I said before, we giving y'all real topics, real things here. Like I said, it's 4 good brothers, good perspectives, give you what you need. So, see y'all next week.
And this is Black from the podcast. I know I say this a lot, but I love doing this with these brothers, man. These are good dudes. They, we hold each other accountable. We challenge each other. And it makes it, good for us because, just like delivering mail, the route never goes the way you want it to. So, something always happens on the route and, this is how it goes for us. So thank you for listening.
And as always, I'm your low-key engineer, Rick Shine. Appreciate you guys for checking in with us. Episode 5 on the Route Podcast. We have not figured out what we're going to call this one yet, but we'll figure it out. You'll see the title when we put it up. But as always, be safe out there to my fellow carriers and fellow clerks. You know what I mean? And thank you for rocking with us. And I meant what I said earlier. If I was in management, I would fire a lot of y'all in management because y'all just don't.
Testing.
Y'all don't do what y'all supposed to do. I'm that cutthroat. I learned it from America.
He's being hypothetical.
No, I'm serious.
Oh, man.
I learned it from the American government. I will fire the hell out of you. New Year's Eve, Thanksgiving, I don't care. Like, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, I'm going to finish you. But yeah, thank you for checking back with us. Hopefully you check back with us again on episode 5.